Ladies and gentlemen, now let me break something down to y'all, and I want you to really hear me when I say this. When a man loves you, when he truly loves you, his love shows up in the small stuff. Yeah, the big grand gestures are great. Flowers, vacations, jewelry, all of that is nice. But the real proof, that's in the everyday stuff. That's in how he shows up when there's nothing going on. And one of the biggest signs that a man truly loves you is when he takes the time to ask you, "How was your day?" And not just as a habit, not just like he's ticking off a box, but like he really wants to know. Now some men ask that question and don't even listen to the answer. They say it while scrolling through their phone or watching the game. "How was your day?" You start answering and 3 seconds later he's nodding but thinking about something else. That ain't it. That's not love. That's routine. But when a man loves you, really loves you, he asks that question with his eyes. He puts the phone down, he looks at you, he leans in, he creates space for your answer, and let me tell you something. That space right there, that's where love lies. Because when a man asks you how your day was and actually listens to how your coworker tried you, how traffic had you stressed out, how your mama called and said something that got under your skin. What he's saying underneath all that is your peace matters to me. That's what he's telling you without even saying. He's saying whatever you carried all day, you don't have to carry it by yourself anymore. Give it to me, that kind of question is powerful because it shifts the energy. It says I'm not just here to love you when you're laughing and glowing and looking good. I'm here when you're drained. I'm here when your spirit is heavy. I'm here when you just need somebody to sit in silence with you or rub your feet while you vent or just listen to your voice. Even if you're saying nothing important. See, when a man truly loves you, your everyday matters to him. It ain't about just anniversaries or holidays. It's about Tuesdays. It's about those average days when life is just lifing and he still wants to know how you are doing in the middle of it. Now I'm going to give you a little tip, ladies. If you answer that question and you say I'm fine and he just nods and moves on, you already know what time it is. But if you say I'm fine and he looks at you and says, "No, baby, talk to me," you sure? That's a man who's tapped into your soul. That man ain't just listening to what you say. He's reading your spirit. He knows your "I'm fine" don't sound like your usual "I'm fine." And he ain't going to rest until he knows that you're really okay. That's what love is. Love is attention. Love is presence. Love is a man who comes home from a long day, tired as hell, and still wants to sit down next to you and hear all about your day before he says a word about his. Because when a man loves you, your happiness feeds him, your peace settles him, your voice centers him. It's not a chore to ask about your day. It's a necessity. It's like breathing. He can't not ask because if something's bothering you, it's bothering him too. Let me tell you something else. A man who loves you doesn't just ask, "How was your day?" He asks follow-up questions. See, that's how you really know. If you say, "My day was kind of frustrating," and he says, "Why?" "What happened?" Or "What did they say to you?" Or "What can I do to make it better?" Oh, you better keep that man, because that man's not just checking in. He's checking on you. He's trying to understand what you're going through so he can figure out where he fits in as your partner. And don't get it twisted, he ain't doing that to be nosy. He's doing it because your emotions matter to him. Your inner world matters. He wants to be there with you in whatever you're feeling. That's what emotional availability looks like. That's what love sounds like. A man can't protect what he don't understand. So if he's asking questions, it's because he's trying to touch it closer to your heart, trying to guard it. And look, I get it. Some women ain't used to that. You're used to men who just want your body, not your burdens. Men who want your smile, but not your story. But when the right man comes along and asks you about your day with genuine care, it might even catch you off guard. You might be tempted to brush it off or say it's nothing, but don't do that. Let him in. Let him love you, because a man like that, he's rare. That kind of man doesn't just want to be in your life. He wants to be in your corner. He wants to be your safe space. So remember this. How was your day ain't just a sentence. It's a doorway. It's an invitation. It's a love language. When he asks you that with intention, with care, with consistency, that's love showing up at the front door of your heart, ready to hold you close and carry the weight with you. And if you got a man like that, sis, you better answer him with your whole heart. Let me tell you something most people don't realize about men when it comes to love. When a man loves a woman, I mean when he truly loves her, he doesn't just care about who she is right now. He cares about who she's becoming. He doesn't just want to love the version of you that's already here. He wants to support the version of you that's trying to show up. The version that maybe even you're still afraid of stepping into. So when a man asks you, what are your dreams? Baby, that's not small talk. That's serious business. See, most people in relationships talk about day stuff. Did you eat? What time you getting off work? What you watching on Netflix? That's all cool. That's regular. But a man who loves you, he's thinking bigger. He wants to know what wakes you up in the morning. And I'm not talking about your alarm clock. I'm talking about that thing in your soul. That dream you've been carrying since you were 10 years old. Or the one you picked up just last year, but never told nobody about because you were scared they wouldn't take it seriously. When a man asks you about your dreams, that's him saying, I don't just want to know your schedule. I want to know your purpose. He wants to know what lights you up inside. He wants to know what your goals are so he can figure out how to fit himself into the journey, not just the destination. That's what love does. It sees your future and says, let me help you get there. Now let me keep it real with you. Not every man will ask you about your dreams. A lot of them don't want to go there because truth is, some men don't even know how to chase their own dreams. So they get intimidated when a woman knows what she wants, or even worse, when she doesn't but is trying to figure it out. That requires depth. That requires patience, and that requires a level of emotional maturity that not every man has. But the man who loves you, he'll ask anyway. Even if he don't know how to help yet, he'll still want to know. He'll say, what do you want to do 5 years from now? Or what's something you've always wanted to try but never had the chance? He'll ask because he's trying to understand what direction your life is heading in. And if he's serious about you, he's not just asking for curiosity. He's asking because he's making room for your dream in his life. Let me give you an example. Say you tell him, I've always wanted to open a bakery. You think it's just a cute little idea, maybe something you do one day. But the man who loves you, he hears that and starts looking at commercial kitchen rentals and YouTube videos on marketing baked goods. You think it's just a conversation. He thinks it's a plan. That man is trying to figure out how he can turn your wish into a reality. And guess what? He ain't doing it to impress you. He's doing it because when a man loves you, he wants to build with you. Not just build a home, not just build a family, but build you. He wants to contribute to your life in a way that outlives the honeymoon phase. That's why he asked about your dreams. Because he wants to know what you're working towards so he can walk beside you or behind you if he has to make sure you get there. Now don't get it twisted. Support don't always look like money. Sometimes it's just showing up. It's him watching the kids while you go take that night class. It's him sending you motivational quotes when you feel like quitting. It's him believing in your vision even when you start doubting it yourself. That man is not just being a boyfriend, he's being a partner, a pillar, and that's rare. And I know some women hear a question like, what are your dreams? And they freeze up because they haven't had time to think about it. They've been too busy surviving, working, raising kids, taking care of everybody else. So when someone finally asks, what do you want? They don't even know how to answer. But let me tell you something. If a man asks you that question, don't brush it off. Take a deep breath, be honest, even if the dream is half-formed, even if you're scared it sounds crazy, tell him, because if he loves you, he ain't gonna laugh. He's gonna listen, and he's gonna say, okay, let's figure it out together. That's what love is supposed to look like. two people supporting each other's growth, two people pushing each other toward greatness. So when that man asks you what are your dreams, that's his way of saying, I see something in you. I believe in your potential. I'm not here to hold you back. I'm here to hold you up. So if you're with someone who's asking you questions like that, someone who's genuinely interested in your growth, your goals, your vision, don't take it for granted. That's a man who ain't just trying to be in love. He's trying to build a legacy with you. Let me tell you something that women don't always notice, but it matters. You want to know if a man is serious about you. I'm talking about really serious, not just playing house, not just texting you late at night, not just calling you bee or boo. I'm talking about a man who sees you as a woman he wants to build something with. You want to know how to tell? It's when that man looks you in the eye and says, can I meet your people? Now listen. I'm not talking about meeting your homegirl you always hang out with at brunch. I'm talking about your real people. Your mama, your daddy, your big brother who don't play, your auntie who's nosy and going to grill him with 21 questions. When a man voluntarily steps into that kind of situation, baby, that ain't no game. That's a declaration. See, when a man is just messing around with you, he keeps things private, real low key. You notice that. He'll take you out to dinner but never post a photo. He talks sweet, but he don't introduce you to nobody who matters to him. That's because he doesn't want to put roots down. That's a sign right there. Temporary behavior. But when a man loves you, he wants to be planted in your life. He doesn't want to just float on the surface of your world. He wants to anchor himself in it, so when he says, can I meet your family, or when can I meet your parents, or even just, I'd love to get to know your people, he's saying way more than those words. What he's really saying is, I want to be known. I want to be seen. I want to belong somewhere with you, because let's be honest, family ain't easy. Your people are protective of you, especially if they've seen you hurt before. So when a man says he wants to meet them, he knows it ain't going to be all hugs and rainbows. He knows your daddy might look him in the eye like, what are your intentions with my daughter? He knows your cousin might pull him to the side like, don't play with her. But guess what? He don't mind. You know why? Because love shows up even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Let me break this down further. When a man loves you, he doesn't just want access to your heart. He wants responsibility for it. And that includes being accountable to the people who raised you, shaped you, supported you when he wasn't around. He respects the fact that you didn't get here by yourself, that you've got people who would fight for you. So instead of avoiding them, he steps forward and says, let me shake their hand, let me sit on that couch. Let me be seen. Now, ladies, let me tell you something else. Don't underestimate what it means when a man starts asking about your family. That's him studying your world. That's him trying to understand what made you who you are. He wants to know where your values come from, what your traditions are, who you call when life gets heavy. He's not just learning about your people. He's learning how to love you better. Look, I've seen this happen time and time again. A woman will be dating a man for months, sometimes even years, and he's never met her family. And she'll say, oh, we just haven't gotten around to it. No, baby, that's a red flag. Because if a man is serious, he will make time. He will find a way. He might be nervous, sure, but nervous men still show up. A man who loves you is willing to be uncomfortable for your comfort. He'll put himself in a room full of strangers if that's what it takes to prove, I'm not going anywhere. And let's flip it, too. A man who invites you to meet his people, that's another sign. Because men are territorial with their inner circle. We don't just bring anybody home to mama. We don't just sit anybody next to grandma at Sunday dinner. When a man brings you into his world like that, it means he sees you as part of his future, not just his present. He wants his people to see what he sees. He wants their approval, yes, but even more than that, he wants integration. He's not keeping you in a separate box. He's folding you into his life. And ladies, I know not everybody comes from perfect families. Some people have complicated dynamics, but it's not about perfection. It's about connection. If a man is asking to meet whoever is important to you, your best friend, your sister, your mentor, your grandma, that's him making a move toward permanent. He's not afraid of who you are and where you come from. He wants to respect it. That's grown man stuff. So pay attention, not to just what a man tells you when you're alone, but to what he asks when it comes to stepping into your world. If he's ready to sit on your mama's porch, if he's ready to eat your daddy's dry barbecue just to show up, if he's willing to be side by side your brother just to prove himself, baby, that man is serious. Because real love doesn't hide. Real love doesn't isolate. Real love says, I'm proud to be with you and I want the people who love you to know me too. Let me tell you something right now about love, about respect, and about real grown folks being in a relationship. When a man truly loves you, he's not just satisfied with saying, I love you and thinking that's enough. Nah, that's just words. And words, as sweet as they sound, don't always pay the bills or heal the wounds. A man who loves you shows it in what he does, but even more importantly in what he wants to do, especially when things ain't perfect. See, nobody's perfect. Nobody walks into a relationship with a user manual that says, here's how to never mess up. Love is messy sometimes. Love requires work. It demands humility, and the sign of a man who loves you for real is the man who comes to you and says, how can I make things better? Not because he's trying to avoid conflict or because he's afraid of losing you, but because he genuinely wants to grow. With you for you, and because that question, how can I make things better, right there, that's emotional intelligence, that's maturity, that's respect. Because it says, I'm willing to admit I'm not perfect. I'm willing to look in the mirror and say, maybe I was wrong. Most men don't do that, you know. Most men would rather double down on their mistakes than say, hey, I want to understand you better so I can be better for you. But the man who loves you, he's different. He knows that love ain't just about passion and romance. It's about partnership. It's about being teammates. It's about showing up even when you're tired or frustrated or don't feel like it. So when he asks, how can I make things better? That's him saying, I want to be a better teammate for you. I want us to win this game together, and you got to pay attention to the tone when he asks. It ain't a question thrown out like a challenge or a test. It's a question born out of care. It's humble. It's sincere. He's not waiting for you to lecture him. He's not defensive. He's open. And that openness, that's what makes all the difference in a relationship. Now, I know some women have been hurt before. Maybe by a man who said he loved you but never changed a thing, who never tried to listen, who never asked how to make things better because he didn't care enough. So you might be skeptical when a man comes to you with that question, and that's understandable, but here's the thing. Love is not just about words spoken on good days. It's about actions taken on the hard days. When a man asks you how he can make things better, you got to be real with him. Tell him what you need. Don't hold back just to keep the peace, because peace without truth is fragile. But if he's really in this with you, he'll take your truth and do something with it. He won't get mad. He won't shut down. He'll listen and reflect. And if he loves you, and don't confuse asking with changing immediately, sometimes growth takes time. Sometimes habits don't break overnight. But the willingness to ask the question, that's the seed. That's the foundation. And from that foundation, you build trust. You build connection. You build a relationship that can withstand storms. Let me tell you something else, ladies. A man who loves you enough to ask how he can make things better is a man who's prepared to fight for you, not against you. He's prepared to heal the parts of the relationship that might be hurting instead of ignoring them or pretending they don't exist. Because ignoring problems never fixed a thing, running from discomfort only makes it worse. I want you to remember this. A man who is afraid to ask how to make things better is a man who's afraid to lose you. But a man who loves you will risk that conversation because he values what you have together more than his pride. That's grown man stuff right there. That's maturity. And here's the beautiful part. When he asks, how can I make things better? It invites you into the process too. It makes you a partner in growth. It makes love a two-way street, because love ain't just about receiving affection. It's about building something stronger together. It's about fixing what's broken, learning from mistakes, and creating a relationship that's more than just good. It's great. Sometimes that question will come after an argument. Sometimes it will come in the middle of a tough season. But if you get that question, that's your sign, that's your chance to rebuild trust, your chance to deepen connection, your chance to turn a moment of pain into a moment of progress. So when a man truly loves you, he doesn't just want to love you when it's easy. He wants to love you when it's hard. He wants to love you in the chaos and in the calm. And he knows that sometimes loving you means admitting he was wrong and asking, "How can I make things better?" If you find that man, cherish him. Nurture that love, because that kind of love, that's the kind that lasts. That's the kind that grows. And that's the kind that builds a future you both can be proud of.